Hi, it's Dr. Kim Marie, and I want to talk about boredom and how much of a slippery slope that can be. There are many people who spend their whole lives working really hard so that they can retire. And then once they retire, they are so bored with their life that many people die shortly after they retire. Not to sound grim, but just to say that, and that's not for everyone, but it is when we don't have a purpose, when we don't have connection to the part of ourselves that makes us come alive, that part of ourselves that not only makes us come alive, but needs to be shared, right? So we are here on this planet, in this body, in this soul, to connect and to share who we are. That's why when we isolate, it is so devastating. That's why people in prison who get locked away for, only a couple of days start to lose their grasp. And it's because we are social beings. We have an innate need, and that is to connect. So it's not only to connect with our own soul and our own purpose, it's also to share that. And many people that work for themselves find the difficulty, even though there's a lot of freedom in being an entrepreneur, having your own business, it also is very challenging because we can make ourselves spiral out of control and get overwhelmed and not know where to begin. So although it may seem like we have a lot of time in our hands, and that's what I might call boredom, it's like there's so much that we don't know where to begin, and it begins to overwhelm us. So it is important to have daily practices and to break it down and have some kind of a structure. For anxiety and depression, if you didn't hear that, there was a break. And I think that sometimes almost life has been handed over too easy. Like, think about when we were kids. We had to either go outside and play, or we were going to stay in and clean. And on Saturdays, I know that we had to stay in and clean. We had chores to do. We had to wash the dishes or do laundry or whatever it was. We had chores to do. We had things to be accountable for. And I feel like that some of that sense of responsibility has been robbed from our children today, because we didn't want them to have to do the things that we had to do. We wanted a life that's easier for them, but it really doesn't necessarily make their life easier, because as we do chores, as we are held accountable, we build confidence. We feel this sense of accomplishment. So I think it's really important that when we have a lot of time on our hands and we feel overwhelmed, we have to break it down. We have to build a structure of some kind and hold ourselves accountable. Otherwise, we can really go down a slippery slope and end up in a cycle of self-defeating, self-sabotaging habits, because ultimately our needs are not being met. Ultimately, even though we think we want freedom and we think we want all this time, with that becomes another level of responsibility on how we're going to manage that. So think about it. If you're a person that has a lot of time, how do you set yourself up so that you're connecting with your joy, peace, and freedom on a regular basis so that you can have abundance, right? A lot of time does not equal abundance. So let's look at ways that we can build a strong foundation so that we can build an abundant life. I hope you have an amazing day. I love you.